What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here, Andrew Cooper. It's Week 17 Coop Championship Week. It's a big day for everybody here today, and we are here to bring you your latest news, answer your start-sit questions, get you all those inactives up till 12 o'clock Eastern today. Coop, we're gonna. I almost feel like a little bit of pressure on us here today to get some people their championships.
Yeah, there's pressure, but at the same time, John, we know what we're doing. So I feel fully confident that we can help these guys take it home. And if you're not in your championship, that's okay, because we can help you with DraftKings. We can help you with anything. Get the questions in the chat now, and we'll answer them. So
yes, definitely go to the live stream QA channel. If you're in our Discord, start typing your questions in there. Coop and I will be getting to those shortly as we go over some of the top stories for the day. If you're watching this and you're not yet a Fantasy Alarm subscriber, we've got a handful of deals still going on, but I think maybe the best deal that we got, at least for right now, is our playoff deal. Yes, the regular season is coming to an end after today, but that doesn't mean we stop producing content, right? We give you Week 18 content if your league goes to Week 18, and then we have you covered. DFS content, playoff contests, all through the NFL playoffs up until the Super Bowl as well, giving you showdown breakdowns, coaches, fantasy lineup advice for DFS contests. Go to fantasyalarm.com/getNFL. promo code playoff and check that one out for sure. Get in there because just because you didn't win your championship or did win your championship doesn't mean there's not an opportunity to continue that success, Coop.
No, I'm fully there with you, man. Let's get it going. Should we get into the topics, or should we talk a little bit about what's going on?
Let's get into what the top stories of the day are. Right, we talked a little bit about it coming on, and that's some weather. We have a few games here that are going to be impacted by weather. Seattle, for example, expecting rain, and they have a gale force wind advisory. Coop, gale force is quite powerful for those who are not familiar. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be sustained winds, right? We're not necessarily looking at what it was when it was New England and Buffalo, where it was like constantly 40-mile-an-hour winds. But we're looking at potentially 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds during the game, but also rain. And then they have the gusts, where the gusts of winds can reach 40, 50 miles an hour. So if you're looking to throw the football, that could be tough for sure. But they do have two good running backs in this game, and it feels weird to say good running backs when Rashard Penny's name is involved, but he's been solid of late, and Swift is coming back.
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness for some of these domes, right? Because I guess anytime that the weather is over 10 miles per hour, that supposedly has a significant effect on the game. I mean, anything below that, you're probably fine. But for instance, in this Colts game, you were going to have double digits. In the Saints game, it's supposed to be like 18-mile-an-hour winds, but it's in the dome, so you're good.
Right.
Meanwhile, you got the Bears and Giants game, 15-mile-an-hour winds, not going to be good weather, and that game has an over-under at 37 points. So You have to factor these things in. I mean, it's like things are coming at us from every angle these days, right, John? On top of regular injuries, we got COVID, now we got weather. I mean, this is where the rubber meets the road. So
it really is. That is definitely true. And no better week, right, for it. We've had you mentioned COVID, notable names that we've hit the COVID list. And if you haven't yet, go to Fantasy Alarm, check out our complete COVID list that we have out there. We have all the players, we have the days that they went on the COVID list, potential return for that as well. Something that you should really be going ahead and checking out there. But the biggest name, I think, obviously for me at least, was Kirk Cousins landing on the COVID list. He lasted this long, right? We kind of, he was one of the players that we all had our eye on. Cole Beasley hit it a few weeks ago. Kirk Cousins now landing on it this week and not playing for Minnesota today.
I mean, yeah, that's brutal. So it's going to be Sean Mannion, right?
I believe it's going to be Sean Mannion, yeah. Much to the dismay of many Vikings fans, when you have Kellen Mond and you're like, why are we going Mannion? We know what Mannion is. We drafted Mond, maybe the guy of the future if we're moving on from Cousins. Not going to give him the start today, though, against Green Bay.
Yeah, imagine Texans fans, too, where it's like the Vikings knifed in front of them, took Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond's dad actually said that the Texans were talking to Mond on the phone saying they were going to draft him, and then now they're not even using the guy. Right. It's like the Texans are like, what the heck, man? So, you definitely have to the thing for me is that I'm starting Dalvin Cook. I'm starting Justin Jefferson no matter what. Right. So I guess it just takes KJ Osborne off the board, Tyler Conklin was already off my board. So
Right.
in the grand scheme of things, it's going to affect DFS, it's going to affect things like that, but you can't go away from Justin Jefferson.
No, I agree with you there. Other notable names that hit COVID list this week, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick. And not that we were playing many Broncos receivers anyways, but, with those guys now being out, does Cortland Sutton become more appealing to you here, Coop?
So the thing is, Cortland Sutton has been the top dog. He's been the focal point. I think he's still going to continue to be the focal point of the defenses. For me, it boosts Noah Fant against a really bad tight end defense, and it actually boosts Albert Okwuegbunam into a spot where I'm truly considering him in DFS. It's kind of a stretch to start him in your fantasy championships unless it's a 2 tight end league or a tight end premium league with a ton of flexes. But he's a guy who, last week he had the down week, but coming into that 4 catches, 5 catches, 4 catches. And when you look at his pricing on like a DraftKings or whatever at sub 3,000 or so, I mean, nobody under that level you can even realistically project for 2 catches. So if you're looking for that super cheap play on DFS, I do like Albert O.
Yeah, Albert O could be pretty good for DFS. That's actually a great call there. We have Antonio Gibson on the list today. We saw Jarrell Patterson, the last couple of weeks get some work with Gibson being a little bit limited. Now he's going to be the lead back today. Kind of a tough matchup against Philadelphia, but do you take a running back that is just going to get the volume, even if the matchup isn't necessarily that great?
Yeah, I think, we talk about this every week, John, and this strategy has served us pretty well so far in terms of like you have your classifications of running back, right? You have your studs, and then you have the guys splitting, and then you have the guys that are locked into volume, where for me, a lot of times I'll go with the guys that are locked into the volume over some of the guys that are splitting, right? The real question is like where you draw that line. So for you, let me ask you, are you starting either of the Broncos running backs or are you starting Jarrell Patterson if you have to make that choice?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going the Broncos running backs if I had to pick. I mean, again, we're looking at a Chargers defense in terms of DVOA. I think they're back to being the worst team in football. Got 32nd in DVOA against the run. Probably no surprise that the Rex Burkhead tore him up last week. That would be the case. You're just hopeful that again the Broncos and Vic Fangio and Pat Shermer realized their mistakes from last week when they carried the ball 14 total times to Javonte and Melvin Gordon in a game that they should have beaten the Raiders in. So I think they're going to try to turn that around, run the football. They had success running the football against the Chargers a few weeks back. So I'm expecting those 2 guys to get a lot of work today.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I mean, that's the thing about these games, like where there's a ton of COVID guys out or there's a good matchup. Like I'm willing to start Fant. I'm willing to start either of those running backs because of how consolidated it is. And the fact that these teams have been so reliant on the top 3 wide receivers that I can't really picture another wide receiver coming in and getting 7, 8 targets. I mean, they just don't have that guy on the roster, right?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I think like you said, there's just nobody that really comes in to take that spot for them. Other news stories that we have for today, we're looking at the Rams situation. They're going in to face Baltimore. Darrell Henderson's on IR. Cam Akers not expected to play. Means kind of Sony Michel is the only running back there with the Rams today. Pretty solid production out of him of late. Good matchup against Baltimore. Is Sony Michel a firm RB1 for you this week?
Sony Michel might be a firm top 5 RB for me this week. I mean, he's been good. There's no denying it. And when you saw what was happening, like the way it unfolded in real time, where the Patriots, they come out, they have this preseason game where they throw to Michel like 4 or 5 times. And you're like, what is this? We have, this guy's gotten 12 targets all year last year. In his career, he's gotten like 30? And he gets all these targets. And then they trade him. You could tell that it was clearly a live display, right? A showcase. And then since he's been on the team, they've just used him the way they would use any running back. And I think it might just be that Bill Belichick doesn't like using the same running back on rundowns and pass downs. I mean, It's been like that for a long time. Sony Michel could catch at Georgia. He can catch now. So, I mean, like, Sony Michel falls into that category of like, I'm starting over guys like Saquon Barkley, right? I'm starting over guys, in splits. He's you have to get him in your lineup if you have him. And you did a good job picking him up.
I'm with you there as well. Final storyline, we think, before we start jumping into the live stream QA channel over on our Discord. Again, if you're watching now, you are a premium subscriber, get in the Discord, type in your start set questions. Coop and I will go over them, give you our analysis, tell you guys who to play and hopefully lead you to a championship. Coop, down in San Francisco, quarterback change this week with the injury to Jimmy G. You got Trey Lance, and we've had a lot of people, I'm just looking over Discord now, asking some quarterback questions regarding who to play with Trey Lance. We saw him start one game this year already. Wasn't great, but he did have that running upside that kind of allowed for him to reach fantasy value. We saw him in the second half of that game against Seattle, had that big touchdown throw to Deebo Samuel, which is more of a blown defensive coverage by Seattle than it was really anything great that Lance did. But again, more rushing upside out of him in that game as well. What are your expectations for them today at home against Houston, coming off a huge upset win over the Chargers last week?
So let me put this out there right now. There's a reason we chose Discord over something like YouTube or Twitter, and that's that you can edit your comments in Discord, right? So if you've put in a comment so far asking about Trey Lance, make sure to pop in there and hit the edit button and add whether it's 4-point passing touchdowns in your league or 6-point passing touchdowns. Because I don't know about you, John, but to me, that means pretty much everything for a guy like this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not expecting a ton of touchdown volume out of him. You're expecting more rushing production out of that. So I agree with you. Yeah, if you let us know. I mean, you should be doing this anyways, right? With the only time you shouldn't tell us what kind of league you're in with quarterbacks is if you're telling us it's a PPR or non-PPR, because that doesn't really matter for a quarterback. But literally everything else, you should be giving us the type of league setting when you're asking a quarterback question, because we can help you out there for sure. So, Coop, let me know. What do you think about Trey Lance outside of the 4 and 6 point passing touchdowns?
You know, for your real leagues, your championship leagues, I would start him if you're in a situation where you had somebody set and you lost him, like Lamar Jackson, for instance. Like if you lost Lamar Jackson and it's a deep enough league where most of the good options are gone, you might as well shoot for the moon. I mean, the only time he actually really had a full week of practice and started the game, he ran the ball 16 times. I mean, there's no substitute for running the ball 16 times as a quarterback, just given the fact that they're going to throw the ball too. 16 rushes in general puts you, I mean, as long as it's not failing completely, puts you right in the fringe of, you know, QB1, and then one touchdown pass. And now all of a sudden you're talking about 20 points. So for me, you know, I'm interested in that type of situation, but I'm not going to go and start him over a Justin Herbert or a Joe Burrow or anybody like that. I don't know about you, John, how willing to get crazy you are in a real league. In DFS,
no. Definitely not playing over Herbert or Burrow. That's for sure. But I mean, like we see the common one this week is Taysom Hill or Trey Lance. Like we're going to get to all of those questions in a moment here in our live stream Discord. But Coop, start thinking about that question, because I'm seeing it a lot. I'm seeing a lot of Taysom Hill or Trey Lance in the Discord today. So, I think that's going to be a popular question people have. Carson Wentz or Trey Lance, right? Like all these guys who Tannehill, Trey Lance, like all these low-end QB1s, borderline, QB2s basically that people have been playing. They pick up Trey Lance, and now they want to know, is this the right start? So, again, if you're watching us now, get into that live stream QA channel. Put your start sit question in there, because we're going to go in right now, Coop. Let's just do it. We got a lot of questions. It's championship week. People need answers. We got to help them. First question, and I guess this depends on whether or not, do we have Lamar Jackson official status yet? Because this guy wants to know Lance or Huntley. I feel like that would be a Lance, obviously, if Lamar plays. But say Lamar is out, do you play Huntley or Lance? So
we're going to get, within 15 minutes, we're going to get the official word. I'm fairly confident that he is out. Huntley's set to start. That's what everyone says. For me, I honestly think that I'm going to go with, that is such a tough one. I think I would.
Huntley at home against the Rams, right? Which is
tough. It's not great, man.
Right?
Yeah, I think I might go Lance in this situation. John, you're the QB whisperer. I don't know why you're sending these questions to me. I do the tight ends.
Listen, I'm driving the ship here. I'm just asking you what you think is going on. But yes, I'll
tell you. Yeah,
I would rather Lance in the matchup against Houston while he's home than. Huntley's been very good. I'm not taking that away, right? But he did just miss a week due to COVID, and this is a tougher defense for him. So, he's had a really good run, completing over 70% of his passes in all three starts that he's had. He's taken advantage of some comebacks at end of games where maybe defenses were playing a little bit softer on him. But ultimately, I'm gonna run with Lance on this one, going up against Houston. That's just That's the play we're going to take there. Our guy Lebo, PPR, you want to know Penny or Gordon as an RB2?
I like Rashad Penny. I like the volume that he's getting. They've committed to him. This is one of the, the weather games, but sometimes the weather can help these, these running backs if they're prepared for it. I mean,
right.
He's not LaShawn McCoy, but we used to see LaShawn McCoy as a guy that for some reason, whenever it was snowy or windy,
right.
like he would just turn into an absolute animal. Like he loved it. Like Jamal Williams is another guy who supposedly says that he loves those conditions. He knows how to play in them. If you're in Seattle and you got the rain shadow effect coming over those mountains, like if you've been there long enough, you know how to play in these conditions. So I think that Penny's a guy that I'd prefer in this situation just because he's not splitting,
Right. Yeah, I agree with you that one too as well. He also wants to know OBJ, Ayuk, Mike Williams, or Darnell Mooney for a flex in a PPR.
I like OBJ, man. He's looked great. This is a great matchup. The Ravens, anytime the head coach comes out and says that I don't trust my secondary because we've had injuries and all that, then it's bad. You know what I mean? Like he's posturing in advance to say, hey, if we lose this week, this is probably why it's going to happen. So anytime you get that from the coach, trying to set it up in advance like that, then I do love those setups. So I'd go OBJ.
Okay, and then we on the Eagles defense or Green Bay defense. Green Bay obviously now with the Mannion quarterback matchup.
I think that means all the difference to me. That means all the difference, and I think that the way the line has moved, the line moved almost a touchdown on that game, right? From
close.
Yeah. What was it? What was the movement, John?
Hold on, I'll tell you in a second here. It opened up at 6 points. Open at 7, down to 13.
Yeah, all day long. If you can get a 13, I mean, like that's why we like the defenses playing the Texans. That's why we like defenses playing the Jaguars, right? Like because the spread's 13. I mean, I'll take that all day in this matchup. So Green Bay.
Yeah, I'll go Green Bay with you there as well. Our guy Home Run wants to know Lamb, Waddle, St. Brown, or Deontay in a full PPR. He wants to know who are we sitting, Coop, of that group?
Who are we sitting of that group? So for me, this is a full PPR, right?
Yep, full PPR, CD Lamb, Jalen Waddle. I think it's supposed to rain a little bit in Tennessee today as well. Amon St. Brown, as we've talked about, potential wind issue there in Seattle. I am seeing that they adjusted some of that forecast. It's still supposed to be like 15-mile-an-hour winds, but I think the gusts are more expected later. So maybe it won't be as windy, but we're still looking at a lot of rain during game time. So you have Armand St. Brown there. And then Deontay Johnson, obviously, against Cleveland. But what did we talk about, Coop, on the Alarm After Hours show on Thursday? They're letting Big Ben call the plays today, right?
The keys to the car, right? So
yeah. I
honestly, of that group, I know he's been great. And I know, he's been catching a lot of balls, but I would sit Amon-Ra St. Brown. He still doesn't have a 100-yard game. The Cat's kind of out of the bag on what they have in terms of options there. And I just don't like the weather situation. I don't love the matchup. And if you look at this group of guys, it's so much easier to trust Lamb, Waddle, and Deontay Johnson, given they've done just as much, if not more, than ARSB. So I know, when you get on Twitter and you get on Reddit and these things, the hype of guys like this, it gets exciting. But at the same time, you got to sit back and say, which of these guys are actually better at football and in better situations? And all these guys are in decent situations, but ARSB is just a lower tier of player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go in that direction here as well. Plus, the return of Swift, if you trust what Dan Campbell said, they're going to unleash. Coach speak in the NFL has been brutal to us this year. We saw plenty of guys get unleashed and then barely play. But Dan Campbell seems like a guy I'm going to trust. So, I'm going to go ahead and assume they're going to try to give the ball to Swift a lot given the weather. So, Home Run, we're sitting Amon-Ra St. Brown for today. Also, second question here from Home Run. Let's see, playing Javonte Williams and Darrell Williams. If Connor sits, would you replace Edmonds with one of those running backs? So if James Conner is out, would you play Chase Edmonds over Darrell Williams and Javonte Williams?
Yeah, I mean, be careful with the Williamses in the chat as well, because it's Jamal Williams, there's Javonte Williams, there's Darrell Williams, there's Damian Williams, there's all types of Williamses in this league. So, do your best to throw a couple more letters in there. But yeah, if Connor does sit, I think I would start Chase Edmonds over Javonte Williams, just because he's getting the full role. You get two guys getting, you can't beat yourself up over starting two guys or getting the full job over a guy that's getting half a job. You know, we
Well,
talk about.
yeah. So not to cut you off, Coop. Sorry there, but
Oh,
like
sure. Go ahead.
here's the way I look at it with the way Chase Edmonds is often deployed though, and I know obviously with Connor being out last week, it sort of changed that a little bit there. But when Chase Edmonds returned, before he got injured, he was playing a pretty large role, in that offense, right? He was playing almost 60, 70% of the snaps, and Connor was sort of being limited to that goal line back sort of role, getting all those touchdowns, which is obviously key, I think, when it comes to, the production that they're getting. But I wonder in a matchup with Dallas where we're thinking it's going to be fast paced, we're thinking it's going to be a back and forth type game, if we see more, if we do see more Chase Edmonds here, because they need him out there to use as like a pass catching back, being able to spread out, up tempo, can run the football. Last week he had 8 catches on 9 targets against the Colts, right? And I know Connor was out, right? So there is that aspect to it. But, do you think that when Connor comes back, like they just let him be the lead running back again? I mean, I feel like they're going to have Edmonds be out there.
I mean, I think you've analyzed the situation all year, and you had it exactly right, which is that like James Conner, they do just want to use him as the battering ram if possible, right? Like when Chase Edmonds is healthy, he's that guy. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily crazy to start Chase Edmonds over Javonte Williams if Conner is playing. I mean, is this a full PPR or half?
What's the question here? Full
PPR.
Yeah, full PPR. Yeah.
I'm starting Darrell Williams for sure with no CEH, but I mean, I would plan on getting Edmonds in there either way, to be honest. That's where I'm at.
I like Edmonds. I do. It's obviously tough going, Williams, but he, like you said, it's a 50% split on the workload there. So I think I'm going to go Edmonds over J. Will here, home run, and hopefully, that will come through for us again. I'm leaning in that direction. So
right. When I answer these questions, I answer the way that I would do it for my own teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no trickery. There's no nothing. Like if this was my team, I would start Chase Edmonds.
I agree. Full PPR. I mean, again, the guy had 8 catches on 9 targets last week in a full PPR. So I got to go in that direction. Nixie wants to know in a PPR, this is got to be a deep league, I have to assume. Keyshawn Vaughn or Nico Collins in the flex?
Yeah, I can't start Keyshawn, man. He had the big touchdown, which is great, but I mean, Ronald Jones is healthy. It doesn't matter if Leonard Fournette is out or not if Ronald Jones is playing. So I'm starting Nico Collins. He's gotten good deployment. He scored the touchdown. They don't really have much else. They're going to have to throw in a game where, they're dogs here. So I do like Nico Collins. It's a deep league, but you got to make those calls.
Yeah, plus Brandon Cook's just coming off COVID. We've seen guys really struggle to get going right after that. So our guy, Big Daddy Lewis, he finished second in the championship game this year. Hey, glad you were able to make the money. Got to the end. Congrats for getting there. He's playing for transaction money, Coop. This is kind of an interesting league. Got to be keeper or dynasty. He needs 2 running backs, 1 point every 5 receptions for your running back. So keep that in mind here when we discuss Chase Edmonds, Jordan Howard, Melvin Gordon, Jarrell Patterson, and Keyshawn Vaughn. He needs 2 of that group.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing for upside, you mentioned the 1 point per 5 receptions. It must be important to the. I mean, it's only a point though, so and
nobody here is getting 10 catches, but Edmonds is at least in line to get maybe 5, right?
So the question for me, I'm not going to start Jordan Howard and can't start Keyshawn Vaughn. I would either go Melvin Gordon or Jarrell Patterson. What do you think?
I think I'm going Gordon. The way that they've talked about reducing the workload in Atlanta for some of those veteran players, and you look at Patterson's workload the last couple of weeks, it's been down. So Big Daddy, go Chase Edmonds and Melvin Gordon this week. I think that's where we're going to go at running back. He needs 2 wide receivers of that same scoring. We got another list here, Coop, so I know you're seeing it. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, Valdez Scantling, Pittman, Mooney, and Gabe Davis. Potentially no Emmanuel Sanders here. He needs 2, 1 point for every 5 catches.
That's a squad, man. I'm starting Jalen Waddle for sure, and then I think I honestly, and this is going to fall on you, John, and at the end, but I like DJ Moore. I like the number of targets he's getting. There's no substitute for targets. He's gotten 10 to 12 in 4 games in a row. I don't see why that would change. So I think I like Waddle and Moore. But I mean,
Darnold's
the question
back, not that he was good, but neither was Cam Newton and neither is JP or PJ Walker or whatever his first name is there, right? Like, I would maybe trust Darnold a little bit more than those other guys throwing the football right now.
Yeah. So it's about whether you want to get Amon-Ra in there or not, but I don't really even see the need, to be honest.
Yeah. So Waddle and Moore, I think, are the two receivers we're going to run there as well. PPR needs a sit one here. Darrell Williams, come to this. Darrell Williams, Ezekiel Elliott, Joe Mixon, or Ronald Jones. It is Darrell Williams or Ezekiel Elliott, Coop, right? Like, which of those two are you sitting today?
That's crazy. That's crazy that you're in that situation because you can't sit Mixon or Ronald Jones.
Right.
And I think that I would sit. Wow, man. I mean, I'm contractually obligated to say that I'm starting Zeke. I think I would sit Darrell Williams here. It's like we talk about talent level. I mean, Zeke had the fastest run that he's had all season or since week 6, I think it was last week. Yeah. So I'm going Zeke. I'll sit Darrell Williams in that situation.
Yeah, I'm going to sit Darrell Williams there as well. Listen, it's wild to think, but Zeke did get 2 touchdowns last week. So, even while he's not like running over the world, and I think that's sort of by design, they need him to be healthy there. There is a little value in the fact that he does get the red zone work. He does get those touches, and he can score multiple touchdowns in this game today. So, I'm with you there. If there was a reason, and I've mentioned this stat anytime anybody's talked about Darrell Williams, so I'll just get it out there now. Cincinnati has allowed 100 receptions to running backs this year. So if you're looking for a reason, maybe while Darrell Williams in a PPR league could be valuable. Seattle's allowed the most, 110. DeAndre Swift. Seattle's allowed the most receptions to running backs this season. Philadelphia and Tampa Bay have allowed the second most at 102. And Cincinnati's allowed 100. So, teams that struggle against covering the running back out of the backfield, those are them. Maybe it's a Michael Carter day. Tampa Bay allowing the second most.
Yeah, it's not that we don't like Darrell Williams. It's that you have 4 RB1s this week.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I just want to get that information out there.
That's good.
I mentioned it when I could. So
my true to life advice that I would do is I would start Zeke, Joe Mixon, and Ronald Jones, and I would go build a bunch of DFS lineups around Darrell Williams. Yeah. And then you just high fives all day.
Hedge yourself. Right? Yeah, hedge yourself in DFS this week. PPR here, Coop. Kyle Pitts or Foster Moreau. You and I had a nice little conversation about Foster Moreau before we went on the stream, but I got to ask you, are you going Kyle Pitts against Buffalo or Foster Moreau against Colts?
I'm starting Kyle Pitts. I mean, people suggest that Buffalo is good against the tight end, right? But Kyle Pitts doesn't really play tight end. You look at Kyle Pitts and he's 6'5", 240. The guy that is good at covering tight end for the most part is Matt Milano. He's like 6 foot 220. It's just a totally different matchup. It's like if the Bills were going to play the Seahawks, would they put Matt Milano and Jordan Poyer on DK Metcalf? I don't think they would. So I don't think it translates the same way in terms of trying to analyze those matchups. That's why it's so important to look at personnel and matchups and things like that. So I'm still starting Kyle Pitts. Foster Moreau is a great start. I mean, if you get him in the flex, that'd be great. But I just feel like it's going to hurt more if you start Moreau over Pitts and Pitts has a monster day, which he's capable of, than if you start Pitts over Moreau and Moreau scores his touchdown or whatever he might do.
Right. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you there. You got to play your talent, right? Even though the matchup may be a little bit better for Moreau. PPR need 2, Metcalf, Moore, Renfrow, or Kirk?
2. Full PPR.
Yeah.
I'm starting. Man, I wish Hunter Renfrow was still the Hunter Renfrow of a couple weeks ago, right? Like he was so easy to recommend and he was just continuing to do it, but he's kind of fallen to the wayside as of late. So I would start DJ Moore and then the weather is kind of scary for Metcalf, but I think I'd start him too. I don't know. What do you think, John?
It's not only just the weather, right? It's been just like the recent production out of him. So, but do you think? Sorry, let me ask you this: who gets the Diggs coverage? Is it Kirk or Green?
It's probably AJ Green because Diggs covers the split end. He kind of is that bigger guy. And even the thing about Diggs is he's like basically the new Asante Samuel. And I'm not talking Asante Samuel Jr., all the kids out there. I'm talking about my Asante Samuel.
The guy that should be in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. Yeah. Your dad's Asante Samuel, where he is very much willing to try and set traps and try and undercut passes. That's why Diggs has as many interceptions as he does, but he also is way up there in yards against or yards allowed. Like at one point, just a couple weeks ago, he led the entire league in yards allowed. Yeah. So it's not necessarily the end of the world if you have Diggs. I mean, it doesn't hurt your wide receiver if he picks one off and takes it to the house, as long as the very next drive he tries that and you catch a 40-yard pass. So I don't really. Diggs doesn't fall in the same category as like a Jair Alexander or a James Bradbury or a Lattimore to me, guys that make it so the quarterback doesn't even throw over there, you know?
We are getting official word Lamar Jackson inactive for today. So maybe time, maybe you want to open up the inactives page. I'll finish running down this, but we could be getting some of that information input there. So you're going Metcalf and Moore. I have a slight lean towards Kirk over Metcalf this week for me personally. So I would go Moore and Kirk, I think.
I'm a huge Christian Kirk fan, and I have him in my top. Like I have him squarely in the wide receiver 2 range this week. So, I'm now that you've said it, I'm willing to say it as well.
Okay.
So
Kirk and Moore powers. Let's ride. Metcalf unfortunately just hasn't been the guy down the stretch, and now we're looking at some bad weather. Johnny J, we have to sit one. Darrell Williams, Javonte Williams, Damian Harris, or Chase Edmonds and Sony Michel. Got to sit one of that group, eh? A little tough.
Just one. But there's a lot of flex spots in that league. It'd be nice to know if it was PPR, because that is where Damian Harris. I mean, like the difference between Damian Harris and standard versus PPR versus half is one of the biggest swaps. You know, it's like you're not benching Sony. I'm starting Edmonds. I'm starting Darrell Williams. So it's Javonte versus Damian Harris. What do you think on that, John?
I'm gonna go Damian Harris. I think that's the way to go. They're both splitting carries, right? If it's all right, Johnny, if you're watching still, if it's PPR, actually, I'll just reply to him and maybe you can reply.
Yeah, we'll get you in the chat. We'll answer that one.
We'll hit you in the chat because if it's PPR, I want to go Javonte because he has been catching some footballs. Harris, with Ramondre back this week, or I guess that's what we have to worry about. Is Ramondre definitely in? I know he missed last week. These guys have been limited a little bit, so if they're in, then I think that's probably the Javonte Williams play. If Ramondre is out and it's standard, I'm gonna go with Damian Harris.
The inactives are trickling in, so as soon as we get like a full slate of them, they're gonna take a little while for us to get updated. Probably like 11:40 or so, and then we'll get on that.
We got another sit one from him as well. Zeke, Penny, Sony Michel, Darrell Williams.
Zeke, Penny, Sony Michel. You gotta, Johnny. My advice
would be first 3. I think
these are some. You gotta get in some deeper leagues, man. You got some serious talent. You're definitely starting Sony. Yeah, go the first 3. Sit Darrell Williams.
Yeah, I think I'm sitting Darrell Williams there.
Yep.
Laser wants to know PPR need one wide receiver and a flex. You got Antonio Brown, who realized he was close to his incentives money, and all of a sudden the ankle's okay. Darnell Mooney, Van Jefferson, MVS, Edmonds, Patterson, and Scott. I'm not playing Scott because Howard's active, so I'm out on that one. So we have Antonio Brown, Darnell Mooney, Van Jefferson, Valdez, Scantling back this week. Chase Edmonds and Jarrell Patterson need 2 of that group.
I mean, I'm definitely starting Antonio Brown, and I'm not starting MVS, and so it's between Mooney and Van Jefferson for me, John. I mean, where do you fall on those guys?
Van Jefferson, if I have to pick one.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Brown and Van Jefferson there.
If you can start any Rams wide receivers against this Ravens defense, I mean, you can't feel bad about it, no matter what, really. It's like I think it's just one of those situations where if you look at what Joe Burrow did last week and how everyone kind of feasted, he threw for 500 yards. I mean, this isn't that different of a team all of a sudden. The Rams are in a situation where they need to win. They're still, trying to get everybody on board and gear up for a playoff run. So I see no reason why the Rams would hold back at all in this pass attack.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Big Daddy has another question. He's got Dak as a quarterback. He needs a lot of points, don't we all? Do I ride him against Arizona, or do I pick up Trey Lance, Derek Carr, Tua, Huntley, or Wentz? 4-point passing touchdown, 6-point rushing touchdown. Usually pretty typical there, but I guess this is where your Lance question comes in. 2 points every 50 yards starting at 200, 3 points starting at every 50 yards rushing, and 2 points every 25 after. Popsicle headache, Coop, on the bonuses here. Yeah. The question is, are you playing Dak Prescott or Trey Lance?
Now, let me get my calculator out for this one. I'm starting Dak Prescott. It'd be different if you had a situation where it was Dak had a bad matchup, but he's got quite possibly the highest scoring game this week with the Cardinals.
Yeah,
They're favored to win.
52.5 points, I think it is. So
they're favored. They're at home. Like the conditions for Dak Prescott right now couldn't be that much better. So yeah, 52 over under, and they're favored by nearly a touchdown. I mean, I'm taking Dak in all leagues.
PPR, James Conner, Patterson of Washington. First Jarrell Patterson, right?
Jared
Patterson, and Boston Scott. I can't go Scott because he's going to split carries today. So James Conner, we don't even know if he's going to be active, but if he is, he could be limited off the injury. So I think you have to play Patterson there.
Yeah, I mean Patterson, he's an interesting prospect. I had him in my as a possible ad in my articles this week. So anybody out there, if you're in a dynasty or keeper league, a lot of them, I just want to get this quick out there. If you're in a dynasty or keeper league, a lot of them will lock waivers this week, and then they don't open again until the draft. So this next hour and a half might be your last chance to go in and drop the dead wood off your bench and just sneak a couple guys onto your roster, even if you're out, even if you're not competing for the championship. This is dynasty. So there's no excuse for not adding guys. No one's going to get mad if you do, because that's the format. I wrote articles this weekend to get them out in time. Tight end, wide receiver, running back. Those are all up on Fantasy Alarm with my recommendations for any depth of league. I'm talking in one of them, I would say, okay, if you're in the craziest deep league, add Tamorian Terry, a guy who's currently indicted for murder charges, but just trying to get information out there to you guys before, it can make all the difference if you can add a guy right before the end of the season. I did it one year with Tyler Boyd right before waivers ended, and he turned into a good player. So check that out when you have a chance.
Yep, definitely be sure to check that one out. So next one, Standard League, Kyle Pitts or Dallas Goddard this week?
I'm starting Dallas Goddard. I mean, Kyle Pitts is just not scoring touchdowns. If you look at the Vegas odds for touchdowns, I always take a peek at that, when I'm doing my rosters and stuff. I mean, Goddard is plus 150 and Pitts is closer to plus 200, 250. So, I mean, Vegas, the smartest guys in the room, say Dallas Goddard is most likely to score. And in Standard, how important is that? How many guys even get 70 yards in any given week? So that touchdown is almost always worth more than the rest of the production combined.
Not only that, before last week's disappearing act, he had over 120 receiving yards in back-to-back games, did Goddard. Right. So, they were looking his direction last week, a little bit of an anomaly. But this very matchup a couple of weeks ago, he tore him apart. So, right. Our guy Ponch, what's going on, Ponch? He wants to know Mooney or Hilton in a Standard League, 16-team championship league, Coop. Pretty deep. I think you got to go Mooney, though.
You have to go Mooney because Ty, even when Pittman got ejected, even when guys have been out, Ty has not stepped up and played a full snap share. Mooney does. He plays every snap. So
yeah. Let's give it a quick. Matt Sells, our producer today. When all the inactives rank, can you just give us a quick shout and we'll go over those. Hurts and Stafford, QB, and they want to also know: do you play 49ers or Eagles defense?
So I'm starting the 49ers defense against the Texans. That one to me, I think, is an easy one. And then with the thing about Jalen Hurts is that doesn't he have the banged up ankle? Otherwise,
he did, but he ran well. He had 2 touchdowns rushing in this matchup. So a couple of weeks ago, which I think people are looking at. I'm going Stafford though. I think the passing matchup for him is too elite for me to overlook here this week. So.
And that's one of the ones where, maybe it would change if it was 4-point passing, but you didn't say in your comment there. So Stafford it is.
Yeah, I'm with you. Next question that we got, Sony Michel or Rashard Penny?
Sony Michel. I'm starting Sony Michel everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's probably a safe play. It is a good matchup for Penny. Penny's in the Contrarian Corner video today for DFS. So, but if you have Michel, it's hard to go away from a guy that's going to get probably 20 or so carries. Start 3 of 5. Cup. A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, what a life you have. Cup, right. A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Antonio Brown. I realize Cup is in, but I guess got to go back and forth in the other. So, yes, you're never in your life going to sit Cooper Kupp this week. Justin Jefferson is more interesting now that he's probably seeing Jair Alexander and it's Mannion defense.
Yeah, it's kind of that's kind of a bad setup.
A.J. Brown last week got 1 billion targets. Jamar Chase has a great matchup against Kansas City where I think a lot of the defensive focus could be on Higgins, and Antonio Brown is incentivized. So where are we?
I'm definitely starting Kupp and A.J. Brown, right? It sucks that, I mean, you probably wouldn't even have to ask this question if Sean Mannion wasn't the quarterback. I would
Right.
honestly probably start Cup, AJ Brown, and Antonio Brown. I mean, I just don't see a world where Antonio Brown doesn't get a huge chunk of targets. I mean, what do you think, John?
No, I agree. I think that's where we're going. Especially, Evans is active, but they're saying limited. So, because he's another guy that is, I think, going in that range. So, I think it's yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you there. I think that's just the way it goes.
Right.
We got that answer there. Fantasia. Yep. Hey, you know what? Thank you. We're only here because you guys are here. So,
Right.
hope you guys had a great season. And hopefully we can finish off strong for those of you still playing. Inactives are in, Coop. Carson Wentz is in and good to go. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, let's comb through this quick. If you guys, if you have a second, pop onto fantasyalarm.com/NFL/inactives. I feel like we have the best in the industry in terms of the way we lay this out. We just take the guys that are out, put them in there with the games side by side, the over under, the odds, the records. You can just see it all and just absorb it quickly. It takes 5-10 minutes. So, John, are you seeing anything on here that jumps out to you? Anything surprising that we didn't know about?
Not that. Let me
I didn't
see.
realize Curtis Samuel was out.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel out. Kadarius Toney, we knew was probably not going to play. We knew Miles Sanders was out. Let's see. Lamar is out. Akers, we knew was going to be out. Shaq Barrett and JPP are out. Not that it matters much. The Jets are not going to be a very good team. We got confirmation Jamison Crowder is out for today. Berrios didn't actually play a lot of snaps last week, so I don't know what they did with their passing attack. Maybe they just ran the ball more, but it wasn't Berrios. Let's see, Marlon Mack, Sendejo, we knew wasn't going to play. N'Keal Harry and Nelson Aguilar out for New England. James O'Shaughnessy is out for Jacksonville today.
So I saw that, and Dan Arnold didn't get activated, and I'm pretty sure, is Jacob Hollister on the COVID list?
He's on the COVID list, yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to take a crazy stab in DFS, not in your real leagues, Luke Farrell for one game when O'Shaughnessy got hurt, before they started using Hollister, before they traded for Dan Arnold, played a full role, playing a lot of slot. He got a few targets. I mean, Luke Farrell is a name that he's probably going to have a 0% ownership on DFS, and you might be the one that starts him and he scores a touchdown, and that could be the difference maker in some of these big games. So that could be an interesting one.
Not recommending it entirely because it is against New England, but if you're looking for the dart of all darts.
The dart,
Farrell.
Just an unknown tight end and a terrible matchup for tight ends. I mean, but
you will literally be the only one playing it.
Right. But John, you're the contrarian corner guy, and I think that's as deep in the contrarian corner as you can get. That's like in the there's like a mouse built like a little mouse hole in the bottom of back of the corner, and that's where you are with Luke Farrell.
In contrarian world, people watching their weekly contrarian corner is getting a video of Luke Farrell. So. Bills, Emmanuel Sanders and Matt Breida are inactive for today. Let's see. And that's
our Patriots have a good chunk of players that we figured many of them would be inactive, but I mean, just looking at the list right now, it's kind of jarring. N'Keal Harry, Nelson Aguilar, Juwan Williams, who helps covering tight ends, JJ Taylor, should be a problem, but
but other than that, not a ton of fantasy guys. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders being out, I guess that goes good for Gabe Davis then, right?
Yes.
Probably the spot there. So that's your inactives for today. We'll get back to the questions here. Zeke or Singletary for today here, Coop? Singletary is expected to be one of the top DFS plays for today. If you look at our DraftKings for our draft forecaster, people are looking at this matchup against Atlanta and thinking, well, anybody can run on Atlanta. This will be a blowout in short order, and they're just going to hand the football off. Still don't ever like trusting a running back in Buffalo, though.
Yeah, Zach Moss has been a healthy scratch a number of times this year, and if he were a healthy scratch, I would actually probably say Singletary. But since Zach Moss is playing, I'm going to go Zeke. I really don't see any reason for them to give Singletary 20 carries and Zach Moss 5. If anything, it's going to be more like 18 to 12 or something like that. If they run all over the Falcons like we think they might, so I'm going Zeke.
Okay, our guy Johnny got back to us here. It is a PPR league, so we're going to go Javonte Williams over Damian Harris then.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Yeah. So we're gonna go Javonte over Damian Harris in the PPR league there. Let's see. Next question. Standard scoring: Javonte, Dylan, Goddard, or Pitts in your flex.
Dylan, Goddard, or Pitts?
I'm
I'm starting Javonte, right?
Yeah, probably for standard league. I'm
For
gonna go the running
standard.
back.
Yeah, tight ends just don't rack up the yards. And it's like if everything is yards and touchdowns, then you want running
Goddard's
backs.
been the exception of that the last 2 weeks, though. He's gotten a ton of yards.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the more scoring upside, Javonte Williams or Melvin Gordon for actual touchdowns?
I mean, they were put in a situation last week, the situation that I love when I'm doing my early season analysis, which is a pass interference in the end zone, and they gave it to Javonte Williams. So at this point, even though we've been Melvin over Javonte all year, I think I might now have Javonte over Melvin.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go Javonte then over Goddard. Those are the two that I was really flipping back and forth on. Ponch wants to know Patterson, Carter, or the other Patterson at RB2 in a full PPR. I'm going Carter.
Yeah. Carter. Yeah, it's not a bad matchup, and he's getting the bulk of the work. So Michael Carter.
102 receptions allowed to running backs by Tampa Bay this year, second most in football. So, and they actually checked down to him in Carter last week. So,
no Jamison Crowder either.
No Crowder. So, Taysom Hill or Huntley here, 4-point passing.
We knew these were coming, didn't we?
We did.
I'm going Taysom Hill. I just trust Taysom Hill more than I trust Huntley. That's what it boils down to for me. I don't know about you, John. What do you think?
Yeah, it's matchups for me. I'm going to go Taysom Hill this week in his matchup than Huntley over what he's got going up against the Rams. So, Hill, Huntley, or Lance?
I mean,
I told you they were coming. I tried to.
I know, man. I know. And it boils down to Hill versus Lance. I love the upside of Lance versus the Texans. I mean, I think that this is an opportunity for them to showcase the guy, see what he can do. So I don't think they hold back much. I don't know, John. Do you going to go Hill?
Yeah, I'm going to go Hill here. Yeah. He's also starting Debo. If Lance does throw a touchdown, you kind of have the scoring there, right? You get a little bit of the Lance, but I'm going to Taysom Hill. I think I'm going to trust a little bit more than
I actually didn't see the Debo part of the question, because it's like if they're in the red zone, say they're on the 5-yard line, they're probably not going to throw Lance to Debo. Either Lance is going to run it in or Debo's going to run it in. So it kind of crushes your upside really to start a roll. So I like that. We'll go Hill and Debo.
And then Dallas or Miami defense today. Dallas home against Arizona. Miami on the road against Tennessee. Miami, by the way, has been gangbusters on defense lately. I don't know if you've seen their fantasy production, but
I'm going Miami. It's like the thing with Dallas is that everyone looks at the fantasy points, right? But the way that they create their fantasy points is based on touchdowns, really, and interceptions. And you're starting against one of the better offenses in the league. So I'm not really super excited on that. I'd rather go for a team that's generating their points via sacks and has a lower over-under game. Like in a matchup like this, Dallas has a potential to get you negative points, where I don't think the game's really not going to get to that point with Miami.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Kicker question here. Get your friend Linda. Gould or Hopkins this week? Where are we going?
No, honestly, I trust Linda more than anybody.
So I wasn't saying that as a joke. I'm serious. What are her rankings this week?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Gould or Hopkins?
Yeah, so she has in the start category, which is her green category, she has Robbie Gould in that section, and then she has Hopkins in the next section down. So Gould is a full tier above Hopkins for her. So that's where I'm going.
Was it Linda Lyons, right? Is that her Twitter?
Yeah. So if you're looking for kicker questions, like I trust this person more than anything. Her Twitter handle is LINDELLIONS, and she pins her rankings to the top. They're in Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life newsletter, so just click that. They're all in there, color coded. They're pretty good. She's really good at it, so give her a follow.
She's found a specialty. She's great at it. Check her out over on Twitter. Trust her kicker rankings for sure.
We just I put in so much time into tight ends. She does that for kicker. No one else is putting in that time, and we're thankful for it, because I don't want to do that. Do you, John?
I don't want to think about kickers either. So we're going Robbie Gould here, Stoney. Let's see. 3 championship games. Zaggy, hats off to you, my friend. Good job there. We can only do so much. You truly did all the work. So congrats to you there. 3 championship games. Let's bring them home for you. Full PPR. Myers, OBJ, I think I go to OBJ there.
You got it, John.
And then pick one wide receiver in a flex. Singletary, Michelle, Penny, and Patterson. I'm going to go the middle two. I'm going to go Michelle and Penny.
Yep. Full agreement.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, Zaggy. Good luck. 3 championships, man. That's fantastic. Money tastes bad. However, made championships in 4 of 5 leagues.
way to one up. Way to one up Zaggy there. I think that's Travis, actually. Travis. So way to come in with the one up with the 4 or 5.
He's got screenshots of Twitter questions that he's sent in, apparently. All right, so let's go. First question, PPR. St. Brown, Javonte Williams, Amari Cooper, Ronald Jones. He needs 3 of that group.
I'm starting Ronald Jones no matter what against the Jets.
Yeah.
And I'm starting Amari Cooper. So
Javonte or St. Brown?
In full PPR, I think I'd still like the upside of St. Brown. I mean, the questions we've been getting so far with St. Brown have been all all wide receiver ones, right? I mean, the guy's been good. He's consistently getting targets, so I'm just going to stick with him there. I don't know if you go with Javonte, John.
No, I think that's fine. Now that the wind's supposed to be a little bit lessened, I think I could trust it a little bit more. It's risky though. You know that Javonte is going to get 10 to 12 carries, right? And if he breaks those or they're red zone carries, then the upside's a little bit higher. But if you're in a full PPR, the way St. Brown's been getting looked at, hard to go against. Second question, PPFD, point per first down league. Metcalf, Connor, or Jeff Wilson. Can't go Jeff Wilson with Eli Mitchell back. Connor's questionable. I think you have to go Metcalf here.
You do. You have to go Metcalf there.
Mm-hmm. Third question in PPR: Cooks, OBJ, or Penny? I'm going to go Penny for me.
Penny, yeah, he's been too good, and it's a running game here.
And then finally, PPR: St. Brown, OBJ, or Kirk.
I like Odell. It's just a good matchup. He's a good player.
Yep. I'm going to go OBJ as well there. Let's see. Need one in a flex. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Carter, or Gabe Davis.
So I have St. Brown over Gabe Davis for sure. So it comes down to St. Brown versus Michael Carter, John. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I'm going to go St. Brown.
Yeah, I think so. Like we said, we do like St. Brown. It's just the questions we've gotten so far, they've been like Jamar Chase or St. Brown, but
right.
in this particular one, you can't go away from the targets. Like we said, there's no substitute for him.
Yep. Jog wants to know in a half PPR, pick a running back, a wide receiver, and a flex. Ronald Jones, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, Michael Carter, Rex Burkhead, Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, and Brandon Ayuk. So we need one running back, one wide receiver, and a flex.
I'm starting Rojo,
Jamar
Chase, and man, I hate putting my trust in coach speak, but I think I'd start DeAndre Swift.
That's where I was going to go as well. I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift. So Rojo, Swift, and Chase there, Jock. And good luck this week. Half PPR. The quarterback question doesn't go into play, but this is where we're at. Trey Lance or Taysom Hill?
I think we've settled at this point on Taysom Hill.
Yeah, he's Taysom Hill. Yeah. And then half PPR flex: Damian Harris, Patterson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Michael Carter. Man,
I do still like Damian Harris in this.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Damian Harris too.
Yeah, it just sucks that it's he's getting half of a job, but against the Jaguars, that's still a pretty good job.
He's only really given up a lot of touches to Ramondre when he hasn't been 100%, right?
Yeah,
and I know that he was hobbled a little bit, but so is Stevenson. So, I don't know if we're going to see 10 carries from both. I still think we may get the majority of the work here to Harris until this game probably gets out of hand, right? And then they go Stevenson.
Yeah, I think that's the way that they've been doing it. So, I like that. I think you can't go wrong with Damian Harris this week.
DeSlurry wants to know, it's Sanders probably out. I think Emmanuel Sanders is officially out now with the inactives. We going Gabe Davis or Cole Beasley?
I'm going Cole. In full PPR, I'm starting Cole Beasley.
Okay. And you would play Cole Beasley over Osborne or Bateman today?
Yeah, you can't start Osborne with
He
Sean
says he
Jenkins.
needs upside, though. Do you have interest in Davis if you need the upside?
I mean, if it was half PPR, I would straight up start Davis. But I mean, you're chasing touchdowns that aren't necessarily being generated based on skill, in my opinion. I think that Beasley is just a guy that is going to death by 1,000 cuts in PPR. That's what you want. Osborne, you can't start with Mannion. Bateman, you can't really start with Huntley, so that's where I'm at with that in PPR.
Okay. And then Damian Harris over Stevenson for me. He's just a starter, so I don't want to play the backup there. The way I'm going to go.
We have a 5-minute warning here, John. So we
I know. I'm going to try to do rapid fire. So we're almost done. We're almost done here. 0.25 PPR. Please pick a flex and a defense. Eli Mitchell, Zeke, Javonte, Penny, Brown, Parker. So pick a flex. It's between Zeke and Penny for me. I might actually lean Penny, truthfully.
Yeah. Why is Penny in there? I want it on record that I like Zeke, but if Penny's it's such a good matchup for him,
and especially getting the volume. He's just getting all of the carries. So I'm gonna have to get Jock. It hurts because we're both big Zeke guys over here, but Penny, 2 of the last 3 weeks, 135 plus yards rushing, 20 carries, touchdowns. It's just the matchup there.
Tony Pollard's there,
Yeah, Tony Pollard's in the way, and then we need a defense question: Dallas, New Orleans, San Francisco, or Philadelphia.
I mean, defense is so fluky in general that I just go for the best. If it's a good defense with a good matchup, then I'm going there. So I'm going San Francisco versus Houston. Yep. Like the odds, your defense, sometimes they kill you. You get negative points, they get you 0. San Francisco, I just feel good about them, as a double-digit favorites,
Yeah. Our guy Roddy wants to know Antonio Brown, DK Metcalf, or Sony Michel needs 2.
Sony Michel is in every one of my lineups, man. Yeah. You got to get him
Brown and Michel.
Yeah, agreed.
Then he's a survivor question for survivor leagues. Do you go the New Orleans Saints, the Chicago Bears, or the Philadelphia Eagles? Bears home against the Giants, Philly on the road against Washington, and the Saints. Now I'm blanking on who the Saints are playing. Who are the Saints playing?
The Saints are playing the Panthers, so I don't like that. Right. I don't love that. No. I like the Bears. I like the Bears to beat the Giants.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bears to beat the Giants here as well. I agree.
At home, it's cold.
Yep. 0.25 PPR. Hunter Henry, Foster Merle, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett.
Hunter Henry. I'm in on Hunter Henry. 0.25 PPR is standard in my opinion. Hunter Henry there's only 2 guys that have positive odds this week to score a touchdown. Travis Kelce at -120, Hunter Henry at -105. Hunter Henry in any sort of standard is my play this week for sure.
I'll see to the tight end whisperer here on that conversation. Full PPR, Javonte Williams, Michael Pittman, Devonta Smith.
I can't go away from Michael Pittman, man. I'm incapable of answering Michael Pittman questions, John. I'm too biased. I'm bowing out on this one.
Play Javonte Williams. That's where I'm going.
That's the right play. That's where my brain says to go. But Pittman, there's just a certain upside to a guy like that. But Wentz hasn't practiced all week, so
yeah. Our money tastes bad guy here is on more questions. What did you say his name was? Tyler?
That's Travis. That's Travis Cameron.
Yeah. Okay. Travis. One more. You got Hill or Hurts?
Probably Jalen Hurts. Same question.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was like, what? It's
Taysom Hill. They're the same guys, except one of them doesn't have a hurt ankle.
Yeah. Dare or Jarrell Patterson in a full PPR.
Oh, actually, Hurts over Hill. Sorry. I think I like Hurts over Hill, John.
Okay.
What do you think? That's fine. What do you think on that?
I could lean. He's just so. I mean, they're both inconsistent passing, but no Miles Sanders. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts too. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, yeah. I thought it was another Hill or Lance question. In my mind, I'm just thinking Hill and Lance. So I actually do have Jalen Hurts over Taysom Hill.
Okay, Dare. I'm not even going to bother pronouncing his last name against the Patriots or Jarrell Patterson against the Eagles.
It's Agun Bawale.
Yeah, and perfect.
And he's
out of Jersey.
Yeah, running is the luxury of the winning team. So I really don't like Agumbawale. And also Kyle Van Noy is like a top 5 linebacker in coverage. So I'm going to go Jarrett Patterson.
Patterson for me too. Miami or Chicago defense? That's the question of the week. I'm actually going back and forth, Jock, on that in DFS today.
Yeah.
I went Miami in my lineups because they're cheaper, but both have great matchups. Chicago's at home. That's the only real advantage for them.
Yeah, I like the way Miami's been playing. I mean, the team's on a roll, So you said Miami, right, John?
Yep, Miami.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty, and that wraps up noon, Coop. It is 12 o'clock hour. All the questions done at the buzzer. Continue asking your start sit questions over in the NFL channel on Discord. Our guys are in there getting you guys ready for Week 17 championship week. good luck to everybody there. Coop and I, you know where to find us. Discord on Twitter. We'll catch you guys next week.
Cheers, guys. Good luck.